Brand new season in the NFL is about to start, and to celebrate, you can pick up Arcade1up's NFL Blitz right now for $2.99 at Ollie's. I'm going to talk all about the good and the bad and the why that is happening coming up next. Hey everybody, welcome on back into the Game Shack. I'm your host, JDV for Evil Genius Entertainment. We have a bunch of scary stuff coming out this fall, so keep your eyes open for that. If you like scary movies, if you like this kind of content, give me a thumbs up on the way out the door, and please subscribe if you haven't already, and if you have, hit that notification bell. All right, I got a hot tip from one of you guys last week that Ollie's was selling NFL Blitz from Arcade1up for $2.99. Now, if you don't know, Ollie's is a discount store that buys remnants of carpets, leftovers, and consignments, just basically stuff that places like Walmart and Costco, yada, 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 can't sell in enough numbers and want to blow it out and clear out their shelves for the new season stuff. A place like Ollie's buys that stuff up for pennies on the dollar usually, and then puts it in their stores, and then when it's gone, it's gone. So right off the bat, if you are interested in picking up NFL Blitz for $2.99 and you have an Ollie's anywhere near you, you better get on over there and buy it, because these things aren't going to last, and I very strongly suspect that they will not be restocking NFL Blitzes unless it's really a bloodbath for Arcade1up. I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. But anyway, if you want this game and you have an Ollie's near you, you better scooch on over there right now and pick it up. Now, I already kind of alluded to this, but if you're seeing this game for $2.99 in Ollie's, chances are Ollie's bought it for much, much less than that, maybe $200, $150, maybe $100. Typically, that's how they make their money, is they pay, way, way, way less than you would normally for it. And of course, they pass that savings usually on to us. And of course, $2.99 is way, way cheaper than the original MSRP for Blitz, which just came out last year. I think it came out at either $650. I don't think it was ever $700, but it was at least $600, and a lot of places had it for more than that. So you're talking about half off on one of the premier titles that Arcade1up put out there, with one of the premier leagues and IPs in the world right now. So let me talk a little bit about why this game is already for sale at half off or more, considering the popularity of the NFL. I think there's three things that went into why this game was such a huge fail for Arcade1up. One was price. It's just too much money for a 4-player cab that only had 3 games, all of which are basically the same game, NFL Blitz. Again, if this had 14 games of a whole bunch of different football type varieties or other sports, maybe that would have made the difference. But as it is, it was just basically Blitz. So you either love that game or didn't love that game. And if you didn't, there was no other reason to jump in that cab. That's always a bad idea. I hope Arcade1up continues to put more and more games on their cabs. They are expensive. They do take up a lot of room. And if you don't love the main title and that's all there is on there, you're not going to buy that cab. Second big reason why this cab was not a success is it's small. It's way too small for 4 grown men to stand around. Heck, it's too small for really 4 teenagers to stand around. It's just way too small for 4 beer guzzling friends to get around, play some Blitz, and then go watch the game or whatever. It's just too dang small. But the biggest factor, I think, probably is the fact that despite the fact that it did have a cool title and does have a great joystick controller, 49 positions and all that, the games are still basically there, but they are censored, aren't they? They're edited. A lot of the violence, or at least some of the violence, is edited out. Some of the players aren't there. Put simply enough, this is not the arcade ROM you remember, or even really the PlayStation games or other versions of this games that you can play. It's certainly not going to be what you can get on CoinOps or 1,000 other builds that might have NFL Blitz on it. And while I understand that Arcade1up had to do that to get the title, it did turn a lot of people off. And then when you combine that with the price, the too small form factor, and some other things like Wi-Fi, I think that wasn't working super great when it came out of the box, and just some other kind of negative press, and this game became really one of the biggest failures that Arcade1up has ever done, at least as indicated by the fact that it's now at Ollie's for $2.99 1 year after it first came out. If you stay in business long enough and you make this kind of thing, you are eventually going to end up in a consignment store. Stephen King is no less a famous, super talented writer. Just because you find his books at a yard sale for 50 cents doesn't mean that he hasn't put out some good books and that he's going out of business, so to speak. So in a way, maybe it's a good thing that this thing is at Ollie's, because it means that they've been around long enough for their stuff to actually get to Ollie's. I don't know. I'm trying to polish something that is pretty hard to polish. One other minor potential positive for Arcade1up about this whole thing is that maybe by being in a store like Ollie's, it exposes people who didn't know a thing about Arcade1up or the fact that they make these 3/4 scale arcade games. So it might expose them to a new audience that maybe can't afford the full retail price of these games. Heck, I know I can't afford the full retail price of some of these games. So maybe it exposes them to a new audience, and that's a good thing too. The one big thing that I wonder about is this a one-time only thing? Is it just going to be this one release of NFL Blitz, or are they going to release another batch of NFL Blitz? But even more interesting to me is if they release other games that aren't NFL Blitz, because honestly, I don't have a lot of interest in that cab because, I mean, other than the joystick, almost everything else is kind of not quite there, right? But I am interested in picking up some of their other games, you know, maybe some of the Deluxe 2 Gen cabs, or maybe even the Gen 3 cabs a year from now. I'm definitely interested in the fact that Ollie's, a store like Ollie's, is carrying Arcade1up products new in the box at half off. I mean, if you're an Arcade1up fan and or 3/4 scale fan, that has to be a little bit exciting. So I hope that this trend continues, just not so much that it actually puts Arcade1up in the poorhouse. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think this is going to be a trend that continues, or is this a one-off? Have you seen other games besides NFL Blitz at Ollie's? If you have, please let us know down below, because that would be very interesting to me. And what game do you hope that Ollie's carries if they do indeed keep carrying consignments from Arcade1up? Please let me know down below what you guys think. Okay, so that's going to wrap up this quick episode of NFL Blitz at Ollie's. If you like this kind of content, give me a thumbs up, man. It really will help the channel. My Lions play Thursday night, so, you know, go Lions. And I think they're going to get their heads kicked in by the Chiefs, but, you know, hope springs eternal. All right, guys, love each other. Until next time, I will see you in the Game Shack. Mwah!
Be sure to visit evilgeniusentertainment.com for exclusive content, swag, casting call news, and much, much more.